Today, drama means time travel, drama means unfinished business, and drama means bumbling through a drug cartel takedown. Hi, welcome to Drama Means. Today we're talking about the 2026 Thai BL series, Love Upon a Time.
And first, a summary. A young man travels back in time 400 years to the Ayutthaya Kingdom and ends up taking on the identity of a missing person. While trying to find his way back home, he must also keep up the charade and figure out why exactly his new identity went missing in the first place.
Yes.
But as you pointed out, it's not a random identity. He's going back in time into one of his past lives.
Yeah, it was definitely his past life, but his original life.
His original life? What does that mean?
His past life, like the original identity of the past life. The original...
Wait, what? What's original about it?
Like, he's the original, and then the guy died, and then he came into play.
But he's the same person, so it's not original. It's just the same dude. There's nothing original about it. Like, What if he had, 10 lives before that? That would be the original life.
Anyways, so when I first started watching the show, I was really excited for it because, how much I like Kaew, and, we finally have gotten to the point where Delmundi is, has enough money to put on good productions, and they're not low budget anymore. And so, and they had put out Kaew, they had put out Duong with You, so, I've been really excited with this.
Yeah, it does feel as that the genre has come up, the rising tide lifts all boats, as GMMTV gets bigger, then there's opportunities for other people to invest in Delmundi and other places that kind of brings the quality of all these BL up from kind of where they were at their origins.
Yeah. But when I watched the first 3-ish episodes, I started getting worried because it was very, slapstick comedy, over the top, and honestly just loud, and I was worried because I was I was really excited for this. I don't mind comedy at all. I just didn't think that the comedy it didn't land for me in the first few episodes. I understood where it was going, but unlike Duong with You, which also is very slapsticky and very loud and very over the top, all the jokes and all, it was funny, right? And I was hysterically laughing during Duong with You. But for whatever reason, in the first 3 episodes of Love Upon a Time, I was I hope it's not like this the whole show.
Yeah. Well, Duong with You kind of is one of those meta dramas where they're kind of making fun of drama. They're making fun of dramatic characters. They're kind of making fun of BL characters a little bit with how outrageous the characters are at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that helps comedy, and I think I should say up front, I did not watch this one, so I don't know if this is the case here. But with Duong with You, it feels like everyone is kind of in on, they understand he's being ridiculous, and he doesn't.
Well, no, he knows he's being ridiculous, too.
He does, but he's, playing it very earnestly.
Yeah.
And so, you kind of need that, straight man, to not use the word straight man, but, you need that person who, looks at the person being ridiculous and is just oh my God, because, that's where the audience is coming from. And when everyone's in on the joke and everyone's just ridiculous,
yeah,
it's just, there's no one to kind of go, huh? And I think a lot of comedies make that mistake where you take this ludicrous idea and then you paint everybody with this ludicrous brush. And now nothing's really funny because you're just who can be more ridiculous in the scene? Uh-huh. Whereas, there's no victim of the joke. In Duong with You, he's the victim of the other guy's, ridiculousness all the time. Mm-hmm. Because he's kind of I'm just a normal guy and you're really weird. I don't understand where this is going. Which is funny. Even there, you just chuckle. that's funny. But when everyone's just nutty, then it's just kind of random.
This one, it is kind of crazy and fantastical too. It was pretty over the top, and then I understand in the beginning when Nakun, I guess you would call him, that identity when he goes into, you know, the past and he's like running around trying to escape the people and like saying weird, like not weird things, but like modern day lingo and English and all that stuff. But just like it's kind of interesting because we see that a lot, like, you know, Step into the Past and all those when they do make those references. It's like, but in this one, Love Upon a Time, when he's making those references, it's so chaotic. It doesn't give the audience time to, like, take a break and absorb the comedy of it.
Right.
Right? So he's, like, running around, everyone's frantic, he's frantic, and all these jokes and, like, modern day stuff is just, like, spewing out of his mouth, but there's no rest. And so the audience is just, like, following him, and a lot of it just doesn't land. I think that's why I felt like the comedy didn't land, because we didn't get that time for it to, like, rest a second.
Well, you also need, like, this kind of goes back to, like, the victim of the joke, right? With Step into the Past, you need that person who goes, huh? You know what I mean? Like, he says something, and it reacts, and he's saying it as if it's normal.
Yeah.
And they go, huh? And then he just blows right by it, right? I always call it, like, the Paul Rudd, what? Look? Like, you see, like, every comedy that Paul Rudd is in.
They have that.
Right.
But it's just so fast.
Yeah.
And it is in the process of him running. Right? And so we're just trying to catch up with the action, too.
Gotcha.
So, and there are moments where, like, what did he say? I don't know what that means, kind of thing, right? But it's just, but also they do it so often, too.
Right.
Where it kind of just loses its, like, fun.
Well, is part of it, too, that it's kind of been done before? Like, the Step into the Past thing is funny because it was kind of new.
Yeah.
Like, when they were doing it back in the old days of the original movie.
Yeah.
So when you're just kind of doing that again, like, that's kind of areas that have been tread already a little bit. It
is, and we even see it in How Dare You, right?
Right. I mean, we've seen it in a lot of them where they go back in time and make boba and lemonade, and, like, they bring, you know, they made a mojito for the guy, and therefore, you know, like, there's all these ones that kind of bring these
but
future
that's the
thing to the past.
That is, like, fun and kind of new, right? When they're making, like, a mojito. But in this, it's just a lot of verbal,
right,
like, you know, nuances, and it's just, and again, it's very fast, it's very, like, just thrown out there. So when we watched that part, I was like, oh, well, you know, it's not that funny. And I even, like, went and read some comments, and people are, like, mad because some people didn't find it funny, and they're like, if you didn't think it was funny, then you have no sense of humor. I'm like, no, I definitely, like, I can appreciate the comedy. I just think that they didn't quite make it as effective as it could have been.
No, comedy either works for you or it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's maybe the most subjective art form. Like, you can say a joke to 10 people, and 9 people can laugh, belly laughs, and the 10th person doesn't think it's funny at all.
Yeah.
So
when I watched that, I was, like, worried. But then it started kind of, their relationship started building, and, like, finally he calms down enough to, like, sit down, and then, so I think what really bothered me was, like, he was in such a frantic state where he was just trying to run away. But, like, okay, after it's settled in your mind that you're, like, not home and you're in the past, because at first he thought he was, like his mom had rented out their place for a film shoot. Right. So he thought they were filming, like, a costume drama, right?
Right, he has to have that moment where he doesn't believe what he's seeing, and then he discovers the world, and then he has to come to that realization of, oh, it's real.
Yeah, but that lasted way longer than I thought it needed to be.
Kind of like when we watched Reset, and I was like, dude, like, get it. You went back in time. They don't know that you have a relationship with them. Stop running up to them going, oh my gosh, it's you. Like, stop it.
Yeah, exactly. And so, thank God they didn't do this in like that, right? I think one of the things that bothered me was that because he was constantly trying to escape, right?
Right.
But he had nowhere to escape to, right? So, like, instead of just, like, sitting down, maybe having a conversation, maybe, like, you know, and this is, like, where the chaos gets to me, is that the one guy just wants to trap him and, like, lock him up. The other guy is like, I need to escape, I need to escape, I need to find my mom, I need to find a way back. But he has, like, no plan, nowhere to go, nowhere to run to, and it's just chaos. And like, they're not communicating, they're not talking to each other. And that, I think, what bothers me the most.
Right.
Right? Like, and so that was, like, a good 3 episodes of this type of chaos before they settle down and, like, Phop doesn't, you know, treat him like a frickin' prisoner. And Nakun isn't just, like, running away at every chance he gets. So, and then they, you know, they talk and they try to understand each other. Nakun is trying to understand, like, where he is, who everybody is, you know, learning the language because he is, like, he lives abroad, moved back to Thailand to go to college, you know, so they made fun of him for his Thai not being that good. Now he has to learn ancient Thai.
Right.
You know, so, like, these things, like, it got more interesting. And then as Nakun is getting, like, all the memories of Klao, so Nakun realizes that, you know, Klao's dad was framed. And then Klao actually died.
Oh, okay.
Right? And so now he has to figure out, like, okay, well, if in order for me to get back home into, you know, modern times, I have to solve the mystery, or, you know, who killed Klao and who you know, framed the dad and things like that. And so that stuff gets interesting. And him investigating, although his investigating is kind of like, I don't know, he just keeps going and, like, asking people, like, what happened?
I mean, you know, a lot of detective novels kind of just, that's the bread and butter. Like, you just walk into buildings and you say, so what's going on here? And then, like, then a random bad guy shows up and tries to kill you, and then you chase him, and then you find something. Like, it's pretty simple.
That's the thing. This is exactly how that is, right? It's very classic. The thing is, it's not that complicated, so it's hard to get wrong when it's so simple.
Yeah, there's no depth to it, but it's not incoherent, right? Like those kind of supermarket, like, thriller novels that, when you look at the 350-page book, at the end of the day, like, not much happened. It was kind of like, oh, yeah, like, someone tried to kill them, and then, like, they searched for the person that tried to kill him, and then they found the guy that tried to kill him, and then they killed him.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, but, like, the character was interesting, so I'm, like, on board.
Yeah.
You know, it's like...
Yeah. And in this, the characters, the relationships are interesting. And the case is, like, interesting enough, although, like, very predictable. But he literally keeps going to the same brothel place and asks this, like, girl that he supposedly, or Klao supposedly had, like, went and to see every night and, like, you know, became a drunkard and was, like, causing ruckus and things like that. But he keeps going to this brothel, and every time he goes to the brothel, he finds out a little bit, like, something different. Like, because the idiot that killed Klao is always at the brothel.
Right.
Right? And he has this obsession with the girl that he goes to see, right? And so, again, he just keeps going to the brothel, and every time he goes to the brothel, he finds a little bit more information that he didn't get the time before.
Right.
So, but, you know, and I honestly, so there's an actor named Victor. He's like an old, like, not old, he's, you know, young guy actor, but he's, like, been in the business for a while. And nowadays, he always plays the bad guy. So when I saw him, I was like, oh, he's the bad guy.
There he is.
Yeah. I'm like,
it's Dennis Hopper.
Just go get him. But they tried to, like, make that as a twist because he's, like, part of the guards, right? And, like, one of Phop's, like, close friends, and and he's like helped them a little bit and all that. And so like all we see is like Chet like being the bad guy all the time. And then there's like a twist. There's like it's like an inside job kind of thing, right? And then of course it's Victor's character, and obviously Victor is always the bad guy nowadays.
But it also goes to like the idea that this is a fairly simple story, and maybe they're not really trying to hide the ball from you all that much.
Yeah.
Like I don't think you're watching this being like, oh my gosh, 2 episodes left. Who could it possibly be? Like, I don't think that's the tone here.
Yeah. I think the main focus is their relationship and their, like, romance and how they're possibly going to, you know, meet again in the modern day.
Yeah, how do you resolve this connection that we talked about? The one thing I want to go back to, which I think is really hard to do in a lot of these types of shows, and it's the thing I always struggle with, is why must the character do the things they're doing? And also, why do they care? So you take a character from the modern day and you put them in a book. And then all of a sudden, they're like crying because the book characters are dying. And you're like, well, yeah, but they're book characters. Like, you know you're in a book. So like, why do you now have such emotional attachment to your surroundings out of nowhere? Especially early on in the series. Like, that's always like, it's the jumping off point for me that's so hard. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like what you're saying is actually they did it kind of well. Like, once they get there, he's like, okay, I have to do this thing in order to, maybe that's the thing that triggers me to go back. So now I got to solve this thing. So now I understand why the main character is doing what he's doing and cares for the things he cares about. Even though this really isn't his world, emotionally, he shouldn't be attached the moment he gets there.
Yeah.
We want to see him grow to become attached. And I think the place where a lot of these fall down is, you know, they get there, they're this fish out of water. Oh my gosh, I'm in a book, I'm in a movie, I'm in the past. And then, oh no, my maid died. And you're like, but that person is nobody to you yet. Like, we have to first establish the emotions and then we can play them.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people who write these forget that, but it sounds like they did an actually good job of it here.
They did a very good job in terms of, like, the relationship took a while to build. And so by the time they start falling for each other, and then, like, it was like, first it was Nakun being just attracted to Phop, right? And then later it became like, oh, well, I can't like him because he's supposed to marry this other girl, right? And so then he, like, tries to back away a little bit. But, you know, when you back away and, like deprive yourself of what you want, the feelings only get stronger, you know? And then Phop just being like, sorry, he calls him Phop.
Uh-huh. I was like, oh, I'm getting really familiar with him.
But Phop is just, like, super, everyone online's like, oh, he's, like, the best, like, green flag, you know? Like, he's super, like, caring and just, like, notices everything about Nakun or Klao, however you want to call him. Whatever identity he wants to identify as.
Well, I mean, he is both of them.
Yes.
Klao is Nakun and Nakun is Klao.
Yeah.
And we are one and the same.
Yeah. So, anyway, their relationship build is quite good, and it's not necessarily like a slow burn, but I appreciate that it's not so fast as some other shows.
Yeah.
Right? And so, by the time that they do fall for each other, it does feel, like, very strong. Their feelings are very strong. And then he starts, like, and at the beginning, like, everyone thinks he's gone crazy. So even his 2 friends that they, you know, all 4 of them grew up together, like, was a little, like, hesitant and distant towards him and wants to be friends with him and take care of him, but also kind of scared of him. So then when they finally are, like, friends and, like, they, you know, have deep talks, you know, about, because Kaew's feelings towards Jom, right? Like, and Jom keeps rejecting Kaew, you know, because he doesn't want to be talked about, like, publicly and stuff. And so how Nakun, you know, becomes like a shoulder for Kaew. Like, I like that their friendship didn't start right away. They also had to, like, build a friendship towards each other. And, so I do appreciate all that. My hardest thing for me, and I know I'm going to get so much hate for saying this, because a lot of people, like, love him and think he's fantastic. But I personally think that JJ needs some more work on his acting, because for me, his acting is so surface level.
Right, he's not diving into the character. He's not disappearing in the roles.
He is the role. It's just that whenever he has any emotional scene, his emotions are all in his face. It's very, like, put on. Because I'm not sure he can pull it out. It doesn't feel like it's hit his soul. And, like, when those emotions don't feel genuine, I have a hard time with it. And it's like he really pulls his face a lot. And you know how I like subtle acting, very, like, emotional eye acting, where he is, like, his whole face, like, every wrinkle, everything is, like, put on. Like, he does it on purpose. Like, it's not very natural. I have a hard time with that. And I know a lot of fans voted in this, like, one poll that, like, he's, like, the best actor of, was it May? I think it was. And I was just like, ooh. Like,
yeah.
Like, he definitely needs to take more lessons.
Well, I think, too, there's, like, a surface level emotion, and then you get into what, like, they say in acting classes, where you never play the emotion. You're actually trying not to play the emotion, and that resistance to playing it is the thing that comes through. It's what makes it subtle. So rather than just shouting because you're angry, like, in real life, we restrain our anger. Like, we don't just explode at everything. We don't just smile and are happy. Like, you're embarrassed if you're too happy. Like, and so you kind of restrain those emotions, and then you have to find the places in the story that it makes you do it. Rather than, oh, I'm going to play this happy, I'm going to play this sad, I'm going to play this, you know, angry. It's like, no, but where is it justified that finally comes to the surface? And so all the subtlety on the way to there is the acting.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do. I say that like I know how to act. I do not.
Yeah. But, yeah, I just, I really, really wanted, like, it's the first thing I've ever seen JJ in. I mean, other than the DMD friendship thing that they were in when Net and JJ became an official pairing. But as for acting goes, like, I really do think he needs work. He's a great singer. But
yeah, but if he's new-ish, I mean, maybe it's a thing that evolves. And as he works with actors, like, I mean, the best thing an actor can do is work with actors that are better than them.
Yeah.
And just learn. And as long as they're willing to do that, you can see how young actors just can grow so fast.
Yeah.
Like, they can go from just the worst thing in worst bit part in something, and all of a sudden they're a movie star. You're like, wait, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, oh, they did a few movies, and you start working with the best of the best and go, oh, that's what it looks like.
I mean, look at Francis Ng. Like,
I knew you were going to bring that one up. I knew you were going to bring, out of all of the humans, I could pick that one out of your brain.
Because back in the day, we called him Moktao Yu, right? So, because when he was in his TVB days, early on, he was not a good actor. And somehow down the line, he is now, like, this amazing actor, like, you know, multiple.
One of my favorites to watch, by the way.
Yeah.
Because he does that thing I was describing, where, like, man, how does he show all those emotions at once? And you're like, no, he's not showing them. And then you're inferring them because you're feeling his pain, and he's trying not to let it out, and it's just a squint of the eye, and it's just a movement of a cheekbone, and you're like, oh, how does he do it?
Yeah. So, obviously, there's a lot of room to improve. And that's good, though, because there'll be more chances, and
yeah,
and it'll be good to see.
I want to go back to something you said, because I do think this is really important. and it goes back to like the romance, you know, being doled out, like it wasn't too fast, it wasn't too slow kind of thing, because it's so subjective to the story. Like some romances you watch and you're like, ugh, get them together already. And then others, you're just like, oh, can they get together any faster? I didn't even feel the love and they're already together. And it's so much in context of the story and in context of the chemistry. And it's such a hard thing to know when to pull these characters together. You really do have to feel out the chemistry of the story and the actors and the characters to go like, okay, we're doing the right thing here. We're not just leading the audience on and annoying them. Yeah. Like this is developing, I think organically is like the word I'm looking for, is like, is it organically for them to be together right away? Then it works. If it's not, it doesn't. Is it organic that they just can't quite seem to get their shit together? If that's organic to the story, then it works. So there's no like paint by the numbers thing here when it comes to like, well, by 3rd episode they have to have their kiss, and by the 5th episode they have to sleep together. Like, I know network executives want that to be the truth. Yeah. But that's not the truth. Yeah. So I do think that they have really great chemistry together. Just, you know, with JJ eventually improving more of his acting, I'm very excited to see what else they have for us. As for the ending of this show, hashtag endings are hard. Yes, endings are hard. It's not bad, actually. You know, so in the end, right when Victor's character goes to shoot them, right, and he actually fucking Victor. I know, right? He actually like hits Phop in the arm, right? And then they fall down and Nakun disappears from thin air. Okay. He's gone, right? And so then, of course, like, oh no, it wasn't Victor, sorry. It wasn't Victor that tried to shoot him, it was Cherd. Oh, sorry, Victor. Didn't mean to jump on the bandwagon there. And then Victor shot Cherd, and then... Oh, fucking Victor. The range of emotions I'm experiencing right now hearing this. And then the guards, like, capture Victor before he could, like, kill Phop. Stupid guards. I mean, good guards? Good guards. Okay, good guards. Yes. Yeah, get them. So Nakun disappears, right? And weirdly, Phop is, like, digging through the leaves and, like, kind of the mud to see, like, maybe Nakun got buried or something. It's weird. He's like... It's like when you look under the couch for the kids. Like, can you enter here? Yeah. So it's kind of weird. But anyway, he realizes that Nakun has disappeared out of thin air. And so then you don't see what happens. You follow Nakun back in the modern day world, and he's like, he wakes up as his mom is like frantic because he was like laying there unconscious, you know, and then she had went back and called like medics, and they came and got him and stuff, and like for weeks he was like in this stupor of like, I can't go back, and like he keeps like wanting to find Phop, and his friends aren't his friends in the past, it's his modern day friends, even though they look the same. And he kind of had that same, like, those moments in the past, too, when he thought that his modern day friends were in the past with him, and then realized no. And then now he's like, you're not my past friends, kind of thing. And well, he's feeling out of place in his own world now. Yeah. And so that part's good, but we don't get to see what happened with Phop when they do like see each other again, right? It was like all by an accident. Like Nakun tries to save a little girl, runs out in front of the car that happens to be Phop's car, right? And so Phop comes out and they meet, and then they realize, oh, Phop is T's cousin, all that stuff. And then Nakun tries to kind of test Phop. Okay. Right? Like dropping down little hints and like things. Like, you remember that time in the temple? No. Not like that. He was way more subtle than that, thankfully. That's why I said, thankfully, they didn't try to do what Reset was doing, where it was like even when Nakun
encounters people of the past. Like, the first time it was like this, one of the little servant girls, she was like a waiter at the restaurant, and he accidentally calls her by the name, and she's like, what? You know, and then he realizes, oh, I can't do that.
Right. He's smarter than Armin.
Yeah, he's smarter than Armin for sure. And so then, but he gets like happiness. He shows happiness when he does see people. Like, the cafe that he ends up working is like a Chinese guy and the waiter of this Chinese restaurant in the past, right?
Right.
So now they're, you know, one is his coworker and one is his boss at the cafe he ends up working at. But he does, like, accidentally, like really fast call the other waiter guy, by his past name. And then they're like, why'd you call me that? And then he's like, oh, no, and then try to play it off. Right?
I'm just confused a bit.
Yeah. So he doesn't do what Armin does, thankfully. Anyway, so he doesn't, like, approach Phop like, oh my god, I'm gonna hug you, you're like my boyfriend, you know, stuff like that. But he does kind of like, oh, I need to go here to Ayutthaya, and can you, you know, like, I need to do a project. Can you come with me? Can you take me there? And then he just kind of drops these things. And then he's starting to, like, notice things like, they see one of the ladies at the restaurant that they were at in Ayutthaya. When Nakun sees her, you know, he's very, like, happy. And he catches a glimpse of Phop looking at her, too, with this, like kind of surprised look. And so then he's like, okay. And then Phop says something, right? And makes him think that, like, Phop knows, like, the history of that area.
Okay.
So then he just confronts him, like, right out, like, you actually have your memories, huh? Right?
Of your, like, past lives and stuff. Right.
And he's like, why'd you pretend like you don't have them? And then they have a conversation, which is kind of nice that he's, like, very upfront and, like, and confronts him and asks him right away. For me, though, and then, you know, Phop tells him, like, oh, when I turned 20, I just gained all these memories from my past life. And I was like, wait, like, that's it? Like, what I wanted to see was, I wanted to see how Phop reacted in the past. I wanted him to, like you did see him, like, sad, and, like, he was getting weaker and weaker, and he couldn't find Nakun or Klao, and he was getting sick of just, like, from being sad, right? But what I wanted to see was him being more active. As we've been talking about a lot of, like, passive characters in this, like, he literally made a vow to Klao when they were together that, like, even if he disappears, that he's gonna do everything he can to find him.
He gives him that last of the Mohican speech. It's like, I'll find you no matter what, through the rivers and the streams and the times.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But when it actually happens, it's like, yeah, he had his guards go searching for him, which they end up finding, like, the original Klao's body in the bottom of the river.
Right.
Which, yes, that's sad, but you knew that wasn't who you were with the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And you knew from the beginning, when Nakun first was in this past, he kept going to the oracle. He kept going to the shaman and, like, trying to figure out how to get back and stuff like that, right? So wouldn't you, who remembers your past together, also try to go find the shaman, the oracle? Like, it makes no sense that you don't think at all to do that.
Right.
Right? And so you just wither away rather than actually, like, doing something.
Well, we've talked about that a couple times with the, you know, we were in the past and then all of a sudden we're back in the future, and then they just meet each other on the train and you're like, that's it? Like, why is it so incidental?
Yeah.
And I think we hammer it over and over again about characters should be active, characters should have very active goals and wants and desires, and they should be striving to achieve them. Like, in every story, that's true. Even the most slow, nothing happens story, characters should still have wants and desires and be active in pursuing them.
Yeah.
It's the incidentalness that keeps popping up in stories like this that drives me a little batty. Because you're like, why couldn't it be like Nanook gets back to the what's his name?
Nakun.
Nakun? Okay. Why couldn't it be Nakun gets back to the future and he's a little mopey and then he gets this idea to go seek out this oracle. And meanwhile, Paul has been doing the same thing, and they meet at the oracle because, like, that's their, like, common place. So it's like, it's not incidental. They're both, well, maybe this person can help me find my true love in this new life. We've set this up well throughout the series, and now you walk in the door and he's there with the oracle. Now you're like, oh, wow, like, we're meant to be here because we both sought each other out. And I don't know if it's this, like, devotion to fate that these shows have, where it's just, well, it's not incidental, it's fate. Which, that's great to believe, and that's great if that's what but it's also as a story that I'm watching, and entertainment.
Well, here's the thing with fate, right? You could be fated to meet somebody, you could run into them, but it's your decision to be like, hey, I like you. Hey, can I have your number? It's like,
yeah, but I even past that, like, I just think fate is like a cop-out for the writer to go, well, wait, why did these two characters end up in the same elevator together? It was fate. Like, yeah, but I'm not cheering for fate in this story. I'm cheering for my main characters.
Yeah.
Like, fate isn't a character. So don't give fate the win. Give our characters the win.
Yeah, so the thing is, there were these two, like, they call them shooting star stones, which I assume is just like a little piece of meteor.
Okay.
Right? So Klao, the original,
the OG,
he had a stone on him, and it was, when they found his body, it was in his pouch on his body, right? But Nakun also had one, and he had given it to Kaew to prey upon at this temple, right? To basically, because Kaew had issues with Jom, right? And so Nakun was like, you maybe if you wish this, you guys could, like, ease your differences or whatever, right? And so and Kaew ended up having a piece too. So now, Phop has two pieces of this stone, this shooting star stone, which basically is like one of the reasons why they were able to travel through time anyway.
Sure.
So if he has these and he went and looked for the oracle, you're telling me you guys couldn't have figured something out with these two stones? Like, writer-wise too, like, you couldn't have thought, oh, like, with these two stones, I'm going to go and find Nakun right now, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, just something to make you use the things that we've set up throughout the show, use them in the way to achieve what you're looking for, rather than just kind of stumbling upon it.
Yeah. And so, in this, the ending is Phop miraculously gets all the memories of his past when he turned 20. Like, he woke up and all of a sudden he had the memories, right? But he realized that when he had these memories, Nakun hasn't traveled back in time yet. So he couldn't just approach him because they haven't met yet in the past.
I see. He was too young. He hadn't yet gotten to that point in his original story in the future.
Yeah.
So he'd have been like, what do you mean travel back in time? I'm 12. Not that.
No.
But you know what I mean. Like, he's just younger.
Yeah. So then he realizes he can't approach him. So then he decides, and then he realizes, like, oh, Nakun is getting all this bad luck. And then on his 20th birthday, I think it was his 20th birthday, which is like the age that Klao had died, right? So he figured that Nakun, when he turned 20, it was the same age as Klao, and that's probably the age where he goes back in time. So he sets everything in motion where he actually does go and see the fortune teller in modern times as modern day Phop, right? And he sets it up, gives the stone to the fortune teller to give to Nakun and convince Nakun to go back home in Ayutthaya.
Okay.
Where everything starts, because he passes out in his front yard or backyard or in the yard of his home where his mom lives, and he gets knocked out.
Yeah.
And then he goes back in time. So technically, it was Phop who set everything in motion because he got the fortune teller to basically tell Nakun a story and said, "Oh, you need to go and like make amends in Ayutthaya."
So Phop is the reason he went back in time in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. Classic time travel nonsense.
But it's just like, I wish, like, I don't care, like, sure, he could have been the one that planned the whole thing. That's fine. It's the in the past part. Especially when he made it, it was like, oh, I will do everything I can to get back to you. And in reality, it was just given to them.
Yeah, no, I get that part too. But now I have an issue, which is why tread this very, very familiar time travel thing, which is, oh my gosh, this all started because he set it into motion. And you're like, well, yeah, but like then now we get into that circular time travel logic where it's like, well, he has to have the memories in order to set the things into motion. So how did he set things into motion before he has the memories? Well,
No, he had the memories.
Yeah, but if he wouldn't have done the thing he did, the guy would have never gone in the past, which means he would have never had those memories, which means he would have never gone to the future to be able to put that guy on a path to go back into the past. And we get into this circle logic that screws every single time travel story. It's the go back in time to kill your dad. Well, if you go back in time to kill your dad, then your dad can't be born. So then you aren't born. So then you can't go back in time to kill your dad. And now we're just in a forever paradox, right?
Yeah.
They don't need to add the paradox. It's clean without it. So there's no reason to do it other than a cute, like, oh, look at, isn't that cute that like he's actually the one that like sent him back? Like, I don't think it's cute. I just think it goes back to like, time travel cliche, and now we just have to go, well, did we enjoy it? We'll forgive you. Or, I didn't enjoy the show, so it's stupid and makes no sense and sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, I watched Time Cop last night, so...
Did you really?
Yeah. So, like, they have very similar things where you're just like, God. Oh, the bad guy went back into time to try to kill Jean-Claude Van Damme, which is what sets off the whole story to begin with. So then in the story, he's like, I gotta get rid of this guy, so I gotta go back in time. You're like, but you went back in time the first time. And there's just, after a while, it doesn't make any sense.
Anyway, my rating for this show is in the buffet line. I enjoyed it enough. I got over the slapstick comedy. I got over the ending, which is probably my biggest gripe, is the ending. I really, really wanted Phop to like be more active and like take his fate, his future into his own hands, and he will search through dimensions and past and present and future just to find the love of his life. I wanted that all his doing, and instead it was given to him by just some memories that like went into his brain.
I mean, I think what you said is right. It's not necessarily it's a bad ending. It's just
not what I wanted.
They could have elevated it.
Yeah.
By giving him more to do and a desire to do it.
Yeah. So that is it for us this week, and we will see you next week.
Thank you very much for listening.